it like broke my heart big time. It was one of the things that just brought me down to my knees because I'm like, you were asking for this and you didn't even see it. That's how bad I was.
Here we go. Thank you guys for coming back to another episode of the Salah podcast.
You forgot to mention that I'm also a pool champion.
You know we can't cut stuff like this out, you know that? Words of wisdom from the sensei.
Somebody give me a hard drive. My mental capacity is like...
Why are you doing what you're doing? You could be doing something that's seemingly good for the wrong reasons.
Como ministros, ya no buscamos la esencia de Dios del corazón de la persona hacia el corazón de Dios.
Aceite.
All right, guys, we're back. Another episode of the Salah podcast. I'm going to try to control myself a little bit. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I should have bought a fidget spinner or something.
You do. I think you have some sort of like ADD or something.
Yeah.
I'll be really honest.
But we got a full cast today. Obviously, the lovely lady wife sitting across from me.
Yeah.
But we have a returning guest from last episode to finish up a little bit of our testimony. But we also want to get a little more deeper into that testimony. And then I got my cousin
Yes.
came back recently to, you know, God's path and seeing what God is doing in his life is also great. So we wanted to bring him on too to share a little bit of his testimony as well too. So we got a full episode today,
Yeah,
full
we do.
long episode. Hopefully we can get through it. You know,
Yeah.
I know that God is doing some amazing things in house.
Yeah.
We were just having this conversation with Pops, about what's next. You know, and everybody's like, "What are we doing next?"
Yeah.
Because on Sundays, I don't know if you guys have noticed, like, we're going to need to start adding more chairs towards the back area because...
Yeah. I think Sunday I was also reminded of, and I even said it in a testimony when I was ministering in the worship, I was reminded of a time when I was back there just observing the church. I was just back there just watching and looking at everybody, you know, from behind. And I heard a voice tell me, you're going to need a bigger place. And I thought I was crazy. I'm like, no, we don't. We're fine. And I kept looking back and forth and like, you're going to need a bigger place. So start thanking me now for a bigger place. So I've already in advance started thanking God for the place that he's going to give us. Because I know it's going to be a place where I think everybody's in that expectation because everybody talks about how they want their own, a bigger church, a nicer church. Specifically with an industrial kitchen.
Yeah, I brought that up.
Yeah.
I really love.
But it's
for us to
funny
have a big
because
kitchen.
when you brought it up, we had already thought about it. I was like, God, we need it. I feel like our family is like a cooking family. Everybody loves cooking, you know, certain people in different families. And I'm like, if that's something that God uses us to be able to bless people, then I feel like, yeah, we're going to need an industrial kitchen. Yeah. You know what I mean? So we're at the expectation that God's going to exceed it. I think as humans, we limit what God can do. Yeah. Because I've done that in my life in general. But I think that we serve a limitless God. So why couldn't we have an industrial kitchen with all the little fine details, you know? I know when we ask in prayer, I remember your mom always telling me, you got to be specific and you got to be specific in what you pray for. And you do.
And it's
really do.
Yeah, it's the truth because... I don't know if I have said this here, but God never made anybody rich. Like, he never made anybody rich. Yeah. But he instilled the knowledge and the wisdom to be able to be wealthy. Yeah. Right? And if you look at... I have an observation for, like, the American churches and the ways that they use to raise funds for a lot of things. And one of those being like a cafe or a coffee shop or in their actual campus, right? Yeah. Someone like, why can't we? You know what I mean? Like, why can't we? Yeah. And I think that's something that...
if we had an industrial kitchen, we can. We
Exactly.
Can
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know why we're going into this, but it's just a little recap of
where we are right now.
Where we're at right now, but also too of like the ways that God uses talent. Yeah. Right. And just to say the least, like we just witnessed it like last weekend. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like no industrial kitchen and
No industrial kitchen, but a very fancy
And
looking plate
we
that was
served
delicious.
what, maybe over 100 pieces.
It was
More than that because we had a
yeah.
slice at the end.
We had
Yeah.
to slice, so roughly about 180 pieces.
And
Yeah.
it's such a little kitchen. That's a tight space right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
And then we
Exactly.
turned one of the rooms into a makeshift kitchen. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And we still pumped out a wonderful dish. So now imagine when we actually have an industrial kitchen, something where we can actually showcase the dishes for, especially with new people coming in my opinion.
Yeah.
The food's gonna speak to them, and then the service, the whole function of it, it's just gonna bless everybody, in my opinion.
For sure.
So, but let's jump back into last week's or last episode, and really talk about your testimony, right? I think I remember where we last left off, which was you had talked to us about coming back and what it was to come back and how outside perspectives change the narrative and the reality of how we come back and why we have to come back, when in reality the perception of God is come as you are.
Yeah.
And let obviously the spirit and God's transformation change you.
Yeah.
Right. But I also wanted to touch base to your dad, right? Because I know you've been going back and forth and sharing a little bit to us about your dad's story and your dad's testimony as well too, and what you're doing, because it's not just your life, right? But you also have your parents' life, right? Because you have your mom who is, you can say, a pillar to the church.
Yeah.
And has been a pillar to the church, right? Since we opened up the church.
Yeah.
Right? Because in reality it was David's mom and the siblings, and you guys who were the first real members of the church.
OGs, the OGs.
Yeah.
The church's house.
Yeah.
When we used to do it at Pastor's house. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
And we used to go to freaking Old Country Buffet back in the day after Sunday morning
It was
service.
awesome.
And we
I
were there
miss
from
it.
breakfast
Almost
to dinner.
Kind of surprised we
you
didn't get double charge.
pay just a breakfast fee, and then you get all the dinner.
That was a trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then obviously, like in April, we're 20 years into ministry.
It's coming up April. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
That is a
A long time.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, shoot, Damaris was like what, 6 years old?
Yeah, like
baby.
5 or 6.
5 or 6 years
Yeah.
old. Yeah.
Oh.
And then you were like what? Still in high school or junior high?
Junior high still.
Yeah. See, it's time flies. But I think it's something that we were talking in the car, that even though time flies, like God's word and God's will remains the same.
Yeah.
So share a little bit with us on your testimony with your pops, and like a little bit of what you were telling the congregation the other day, because I love that. I love the fact that God is using you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely hard. Well, my dad has been disabled for as long as I know. I mean, when I was little, when I was 3 years old, he fell, you guys know the story. He fell off a 2-story building working in construction, and they said he was going to be disabled and basically a vegetable for life. And I just forgot the word. I always have it in my head, but I totally forgot. Yeah, paralyzed. There we go. They said he was going to be paralyzed for life, but it didn't turn out that way. My dad's, he's a big fighter. He fought a lot to try to even move his lower body, because that's where he stopped feeling anything. And I was little, so I mean, I didn't really know what was going on, but growing up, I started like knowing, realizing what had happened. And now that I'm older, I see how drastic it really all was. But yeah, God gave him back his ability to walk with crutches. First, he started using those canes that like old people use.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. Well, first the wheelchair, then like after that he started going to therapy, then the cane, then like crutches, and that's when he was able to walk with the crutches and move around. And then back in 2018, at the very beginning, or well, actually, it was still 2017 because it was that December of 2017 that he decided to leave back to Mexico. Um, I don't know why he really left, but he was like, he had fallen back into drinking at that time. So I don't know if that was the reason, but he also says that God had a calling for him to go back to his family where his mom lives, and well, where she used to live, because unfortunately she's not here with us anymore. But he said that he had, God gave him that calling, and I do believe him. For a while I would question it and say, why did you leave? But you know how whenever you have to go, you have to
Yeah.
go. Whenever God's telling you to do something, you have to do it, or else he'll find a way to get you there. Just how he got what was his name? Jonah, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, to go to that, was it Nineveh?
Yeah.
To go to Nineveh and do what he had to do because God was sending him there. So he went to Mexico, back to Guerrero, and for a long time he was there. And I went to go visit him like 2 years after he had left, so in 2019. And that was the last time that I ever saw him. And he still had both of his legs. He still was using crutches. And then I stopped visiting him. I only visited him one time since he had left. And then I don't know what happened. I was also like doing bad.
Yeah.
So I think it was just not God's timing for me to see him. But it was almost 7 years since I hadn't seen my dad until February of this year.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it would have almost been 7 years in February around the 19th. But then I got to see him because he moved closer, and he's right here by the border, so it's pretty close.
Yeah.
And he just was still doing pretty bad. His testimony is crazy. I would love him for I would love for him to be telling it, because he just tells it so much better. But but basically his family treated him really bad. He ended up losing a leg back in Guerrero. I think it was maybe 2021 or 2022. So now he only has one leg. So now he just uses his wheelchair all the time. He can't stand up, he can't walk now, and it's tough. He had fallen back into the drinking. I don't know if he ever stopped when he was in Mexico, but he does say that his family basically did a lot of like brujeria on him. And I know it's like hard to believe sometimes, and for a long time too I kind of didn't believe him because I just wasn't there
Yeah.
to be able to see what was going on. But in my heart, deep down in my heart, I do feel like there was something like sketchy going on in that family, because they just, that time I went, they started this whole rumor about me that I was like doing drugs in Mexico, but I was not. Like, I literally went just to go be with my dad. I don't even know where to get drugs in Mexico. And my own family started that rumor about me, and it was my aunt and like her husband, and it was just so weird because like, I mean, I was just there to visit. I was there to visit my dad. I was there to be with him. And they just wanted something to talk about me.
Yeah.
And so I don't have any social media anymore. But I used to in the past, but not anymore. but they still like throughout the years continuously, like even after I didn't have social media, they tried like talking bad about me and stuff. And it's just like, you don't know what I'm doing. Like, you guys are over there, I'm over here. Like, you guys have no idea what's going on with my life and stuff. And so with my dad, I feel like it was, I don't know what it was, because he had properties over there in Mexico, and he was supposed to go over there to basically get them back and like be like, hey, I'm back. I'm here for my stuff, for what belongs to me. But my grandma just did not want to give him back, and to this day she never gave him back, and she's gone now. And I'm pretty sure she gave them to all her kids that are like over there. Yeah, they're already grown adults. But I don't know what it is that they had with my dad. He even sent me one time, I remember he sent me a picture of his like back, and it was all black. Like somebody had been beating him. And I asked my grandma about it on the phone, and she got really defensive about me asking her that. And she's like, cuando tú vengas, vamos a hablar. And like, I was just like, okay, but like, I never went back, unfortunately. And she recently passed away a couple months ago. I guess she got like cancer on her foot. But yeah, my dad says that they wanted to kill him. He says that they wanted to get rid of him. He's told me a lot of crazy stuff. But he said that one time that they put like veneno in one of his drinks, and he kind of like noticed. So he said that he like touched it a little bit with his tongue, because his grandma and his sister, I mean my grandma and his sister, were like insisting on it, like to take a drink. And he just thought it was weird that they kept on insisting him so much. So he took like, just put it to his tongue, and he said that his eyes rolled back a little. And he's like, nah, like he's like, I'm not gonna drink this. Wow. And that he said he pretended to drink it. And that my dad's so funny. He said that he was like pretending to like, that something was happening to him, like that he was like all like moaning about it. To scare them, and that after that they got scared of him, because that they were saying like he made like a pact with the devil and stuff. And I know, and it's just crazy. My dad has been through so much, and I really feel for him in my heart. This is a little TMI, but he got sexually assaulted in Mexico after, I don't know like when it was that it exactly happened, like what year, but it was after he already didn't have his leg. But it also like could have, I don't know why that could have happened. It could have been also a punishment, because my dad wasn't always like the best. Like, we all make mistakes. So but yeah, he's just had a lot going on through his life, and it hurts me that I wasn't there for most of his hard times. But only God knows why too, like why I couldn't be there, why he didn't allow me to go to that place. And it could have maybe even been much worse for me. They could have maybe done something to me. He did tell me that one of my tias was like, cuando venga, le voy a, basically like hit me, like that she wanted to put her hands on me. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I don't care for them like that. Like, so the fact that they have so much hate in their heart for somebody that really isn't even around, and they basically don't know, it's just crazy. But I'm really glad that he's not with them anymore, because I feel like it was just really bad for him, really bad for his mental health. I feel like when I was going those times, because I was going constantly like a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, I felt like he just had a lot of PTSD. And my dad just, I love him, but it doesn't feel the same as when he used to be here. Like, he doesn't feel like the same person.
Yeah.
And like, to ask you this question, like, having seen your dad go through pain, right? Um, what has been your mentality behind, like, or do you ever question God, like, why allow this to happen?
I wouldn't say I question him, but I do wonder why he went through all he went through. And but I know my dad, I feel like my dad is like the really like most strong person I know in my life, cuz he's been through so much and yet he's still a happy person. He's still a positive person. He will smile
Yeah.
at you all the time, and like I just think it's like amazing because God obviously knows him more than I do,
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
So I feel like he knows that God wouldn't put us through anything that we can't handle.
Right.
So I know that it's something great for me and my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, I see your mom, and I hear what you described to me as your dad, and kind of know him a little bit. And he was very a determined person.
Oh yeah.
When he said he was gonna do something, like, he would do it. You know what I mean? And your mom is like the prime example of like hardworking, but you guys are always like happy. Yes, right. You guys are always. I've never seen Damaris angry.
Yeah, me neither. Or your mom. It'd be weird to see her angry. I'd probably be scared though, to be honest.
The quiet ones are always the dangerous ones.
He said Damaris sitting in the back, and then bam, switch.
Just imagine. So how has your dad obviously he knows like maybe you're going back to church. How does he feel and how does he see that?
He was really happy when I told him that I was going back to church. He told me to not stop going, to keep going, to build that relationship with God, read the Bible. He always tells me to read Salmos 91, Salmos 35. He always tells me to read them every night.
It's a good. That's a really good scripture.
That's good. And I think your life is impactful for him too, because he's seeing now que tú te has entregado al Señor y te estás entregando al Señor, and that's also gonna, like move into him too as well, and he'll I'm pretty sure he's already seeing a difference in you and how God is using you even at your age to be able to be that light for him even where he's at. So
yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, every time I come back, I always feel so bad. I always want to bring him home with me.
Yeah. I know. I would hear that a lot with my mom with her dad because he chose to stay in. Obviously, it's not Mexico, but he chose to stay in Douglas, in Arizona. Yeah, and my mom would go and visit him to check up on him, see if he's okay, and she would always want to bring him back home, but he would never want to stay. So I get that feeling, and I think my mom would definitely understand you. And I say that because of what I've heard from her and her testimony too with her dad. So it's amazing to see how God is using you now that you have been coming back and you are, trying to day by day. Because I feel like we all on a day-to-day basis are trying to keep our relationship with God strong, and it's not easy sometimes. But I think He sees our effort, and I mean that's enough, I guess, right?
Yeah, and how do I? It's hard to stay 100% grounded to faith, to the walk with God, because it's not easy. And I'm gonna tell you guys, like, preaching and playing up here, like, that doesn't stop you from getting. I'm not gonna say being attacked. It's just, like, you go through ups and downs of like highs and lows and spiritual highs and spiritual lows where you don't even want to pick up, like your Bible or like
Yeah.
because it's draining. But like, let me ask you guys this question to both of you guys. Like, obviously, you guys both encounter something different, right? But it came to a realization that like I need God, right?
Yeah.
I need God, and um, what can you guys tell us that can maybe impact obviously our listeners, but like um in Spanish terms, por las buenas, right? Instead of por las malas. Because in taking in your example of Jonah, like he was a por las malas, right? He like didn't want to listen. He went the opposite way, farthest distance away, and still God brought him back to his purpose, right? So like, let me ask you this to David, like, tell us a little bit like about what you went through, but also like um what that realization was of like I need God.
Well, for me, it was a little bit more of me being stubborn, my opinion. Because when I stepped away the first time, it was me being stubborn. Because I'm like, how come everybody else is getting all these talents? They're getting all this and all that. And I feel like I'm the one giving the most and I don't get nothing in return.
Yeah.
So then that's what forced me to look elsewhere.
Yeah.
And the first thing I looked at was drugs, And I felt the best high in the world with smoking weed. So that's what guided me outside of the first time. And throughout the years, honestly, I would hear my aunts, my uncles talk, and it felt like I was being attacked by them. And it was funny because the other day, no, not the other day, but a while back, the pastor, his mom, they went over to the house. I don't know what was going on. And I just overhear his mom talk to my mom about a dream that she had that I was being attacked, stabbed. And I don't know. I never when they used to come over, I would leave. I never wanted to be part of that conversation because I had hate, in my heart. And I just remember coming home from work and going to my room. But as I'm going to my room, I hear that conversation, that part of it, that I was being attacked. And in my mind, I'm not, yeah, right, whatever. Went about my day. And then it happens that I get attacked. You know what I'm saying? That's when everything from those conversations that I was never privy of, like, just came flooding towards me. And como dices, por las buenas o por las malas, he was literally trying to warn me every time.
Yeah.
But me, my stubbornness, my heart, mi corazón duro no quiso escuchar.
Yeah.
And it took something very tragic for me to say, wow. And even when that happened to me and I came back to God, he showed me other situations where he literally protected me. And you don't realize how much bad you're going through because you're literally blind.
Yeah.
And I could see that because I didn't even realize when my dad started coming to church. That's how bad it was. When I remember I came in and that's when every time you talk about your dad, I'm like, wow, like I never saw it. Like I remember crying and praying. Like I want my dad to come to church with my mom, because my mom's always been here since the beginning. So she's been an anchor towards us. And the fact that I didn't even realize when my dad started coming to church, it like broke my heart, big time. Like it was one of the things that just brought me down to my knees because I'm like, you were asking for this and you didn't even see it. That's how bad I was, and I'm just so grateful to God to be here. And he gave me opportunities to, he showed me other opportunities that I wasted. And I'm just glad to be here, honestly. I'm just so happy. and I'm trying to instill that in my son too. So it's tough, but I can see it, and I'm so sorry about your dad because I remember him too, and he was somebody that I admired because he did had an accident and he came about it very strong, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wow, he's still in his crutching and he's still blessing God, and all that happened to him. I'm like, sometimes we don't even realize the stuff that we're going through,
Yeah. And just a little recap for our listeners here and a little background testimony. David was when I started getting serious with the Lord, because I wasn't serious with him, he was our youth leader. Well, I say that. He was my youth leader. I remember watching videos from home with my mom, and my mom's like, "Is that Fred on the drums?" I was like, "I think so. I didn't know he played the drums." And at that time, I played the drums at my church because I was always in the church. I grew up in the church. But you know how you go to church, but you're never serious and you just don't take it serious. So that was me for about all my life until I met Freddie. And then I started seeing videos, and I remember seeing, this dude there, and he's literally at the front of the altar like all the freaking time. And every freaking time he was feeling, the God's presence. And I'm like, every single time, God, like every single time? Like, that's crazy. And so I watched the videos and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've never experienced what he's experienced, And I remember how God started, like, using Freddie to get me back in church. And we went to Miguel, his brother's wedding. And then I'm sitting there and I'm just listening to this. Didn't realize that his dad was a pastor. And me in that time, I wanted to somehow, as soon as I'm 18, I'm done. I'm not going to be in my mom's household. I'm going to go this way, because I have family members that don't go to church and I don't want to do all this. So in my mind, I was already planning my escape, right? And so it's stupid of me because there's no way of me escaping. So I'm there and I'm like, that's when Fredo invites me to his church. And I remember going to church and hearing somebody praying and speaking in tongues. And I was like, who in the world is that hermano? I thought it was this old hermano. Nah, it's Freddie. My mom looked at me. I looked at my mom and was like, oh, this is church. This is serious church. And then I get to know David and him and with the youth and how he would grab us all together. And it'd be like if you were God's special soldier, that's how I seen you. You were like, this is my son, David. The same way you talk about your son with so much pride and joy, I feel like that's how God really talks about you in my life, and this is just all personal, right? And so I'm seeing David and I'm like, dang, he's getting all the youth together. We would go to like youth events and the place could be dead. There'd be no movement, nothing moving, but we'd grab hands and you'd hear David, praying and interceding. And all of a sudden, of the Holy Spirit would come over us and we'd all be filled. Like we were always being filled and experiencing. And I feel like David was a pillar moment in my life and in my growth with Christ, because that was when I felt the Holy Spirit for the first time. God used you in my life to be able to be like, quit running. Like, I experienced with the Holy Spirit through you, through Freddie, and through basically how you guys searched and how you were at that time. And so being at my youth leader, I was like, yeah, that's my leader, and it'd be like moments where we're just like literally dancing when the alabanza is going, literally taking up those opportunities to really get filled by God's presence. And that was, I feel like, what stamped my heart to be like, quit running. And I'm not going to say that there hasn't been moments now that I've wanted to and premeditated my escape, right? But there's just no escaping. Like, he obviously knows our thoughts, right? Yeah. And he knows when you're premeditating your way out, because he just knows. And he'll always do something, I feel like, to grab your attention. But hearing David, it's like when David walked through, I'll tell you this, when our brother Caesar walked through the door, we was in a worship session or worship during Alabanza, I lost it. I couldn't continue with singing up there. Like, I just couldn't. Yeah. There was so much gratitude.
Because they're pillars. They're pillars in our lives. Realistically speaking, they're pillars in our lives.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, I play drums, but I had to get off.
Yeah.
Like, I got off And I was moved by the Spirit to don't pray for him. He said, don't pray for him. Don't put hands on him, because that's the first thing we do, right? We're Pentecostal,
Trying to
put hands on people,
Yeah.
right? But Spirit said, don't put hands
Don't
on him.
touch him.
All you got to do is go and hug him.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing else. I'll take care of the rest.
Yeah.
Right? So I got down the middle of the worship session, went back there, and I said, I don't know why I'm telling you. And keep in mind, like, I'm not always at my best, spiritually speaking, right?
I don't think we never are in all actuality.
But I feel like when I'm like on like a slow decline, like the Lord's like, let me show you.
Yeah.
And those things come, right? So I went back there, and he just had his head down, right? He just had his head down. And I said, talked to him a little bit, and I said, welcome and whatnot. And the Lord told me, he said, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but the Lord wants me to give you a hug. Will you allow me to give you a hug? I hugged him. And the moment I hugged him, he just broke down. Right? And then after that, obviously, proceeded with like, all right, now it's my turn to do my job.
Yeah. When I seen that, and then when I seen your dad come for the first time, and I'm like, oh, yeah, David's coming around the corner. I know he is.
And then the fact that his dad like started coming around, but like you can like, remember I told you about like your outfits, right? Like there's a change, right? There's a change in like the way you carry yourself and you dress, right? And then I started seeing my uncle come, and then he started coming in like suits. I'm like, this like, flat boy,
look at him, little pastor.
And it's funny because you say that because he started dressing differently, and that's when I saw it and I didn't see it, you know? And now that I'm with coming to church a lot, I see him, get ready early, make sure if his shirt's wrinkled, he takes it off, he make sure he's nice and clean, And that's how I see that I gotta come, make sure I'm nice and clean, be presentable to God, you know? Because he did wonderful things that we're blind to see sometimes.
Yeah, literally.
And then
seeing that change when I remember when I watched your dad be touched by the Spirit once, and he was just crying there and just, siendo tocado, and I'm like, oh my God, like I couldn't keep it together either. Yeah. Literally. And then I see her coming around, and I'm like, God, what's going on? And I literally every time I felt like, you know what, I want to be done. God would send one by one.
And
you want to be done?
We came in right before
Look.
service. We came in before service, and sure enough, like your mom sits in a specific corner at church, right? So I seen that, and then I seen you. And I'm like, what's going on here? Yeah. Like, what's going on? Right? And I went over there, and I said hi, and I said hi to everybody else. And I kind of hesitated. I'm like, all right, you're trying to show me something.
Like, because our emotions, because we're so excited.
Yeah.
And I feel like we get so, well, this is me. I get so excited. I'm like, yes, they're here. Like, okay, let's get it going. Let's get, God, come on, let's do it. I know he has his time, right?
But and I'm big, like, I don't want to show too much, like, human emotion. I want to be like, all right, guys, what is it that you want? Yeah. I went over there, and same thing. Like, it was not like, let me put hands on you or nothing like that. It was just hug him. Yeah. So I went over there, I gave him a hug, and he hugged me like, hugged me. I'm like,
I'm gonna squeeze a fart out of you, huh?
Yeah. But it was like that, right? And I think that what God is trying to show us is like, there's stories and there's like parables in scripture where it's like, and coming to like flourish the prodigal son, right? Yeah. Like, he went to live his inheritance, right? Live his inheritance, wasted his inheritance, and came to eat from the bottom. Yeah. Like, from where pigs eat. You know what I mean? And tradition, like, a pig is
bottom of the bottom.
Like, bottom of the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, coming back home, it's like, you would think, right? You would think, like, these guys are gonna judge me.
Exactly.
These guys are gonna
maybe people
point fingers at me.
Yeah.
But it's not like that.
No.
Like, I think the only thing that came to me when I was hugging David was like, God was telling me, you're home. Yeah. You're home now.
And I think people have people who have left the church throughout the years and have, done whatever they needed to do in their lives, personal lives, and have wanted to come back, I believe maybe they've been hesitant because of how they think they're going to be received at home, when they come back to church.
You saying that's actually, you brought just flashback. It's funny, like I could see it. I almost came a couple years back for Mother's Day for my mom. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it for my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not come for that reason. They
Yep.
don't know how they're going to, if they're already talking behind my back, imagine what they're going to say when I show up.
Right.
And back then I was a very heavy smoker. I was literally smoking it every day,
Yeah.
24/7, you know what I'm saying, to the point where my mom was like scared for me,
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to come for Mother's Day. And I did not step through those doors because of that.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're going to judge me. They're just going to text Mike in front of my face. I want that.
Right.
And I did not go.
Yeah.
you
And I
know?
think that's a lie that the enemy is putting in the ears of
Definitely.
many kids and many jóvenes that want to come back, but they can't, because he's telling them in their ear, they're not going to look, they're going to judge you. They're going to tell you, that's why you came back. Look how your life was. Like, it doesn't matter. We're nobody to say why your life was the way you want or judge the decisions you made, because that's your story with God.
Yeah.
Your story with him, your relationship with him
And it's even worse for people who are
in the church.
Because, and this is just from personal battles with
Yep.
myself, right? Obviously been in this 20 years, right? But there's been years where I was dealing with secret stuff that I was still serving. You know what I mean? Like, it came to a point in my life where I decided, like, a couple years before you came, like, I don't know if you heard this or not, but we almost separated, right? I went into the route of, like, I want to try the outside, right? I want to hang out with friends. I want to do this stuff. To even tell you that, it came to a point where there was a season in my time where I was like, I would leave playing and go pick up a bottle. Like, it was like that, you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't like, and I'm not saying I got an alcoholic or anything like that, but it was like I wanted to try it, and I was forcing myself to do certain things that I was just like,
are not good.
and then it came to like flourishing where like it was like I didn't care anymore. And I told my dad, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna step down. I'm gonna stop doing anything, because then it just frees me from the obligation of being up here and my conscience of like, and I have the liberty to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it came to a point where I did it, and I was like, what's next? Yeah. And it came to a point where she was like, once your grandma leaves, because my grandma was staying at the time she came from Mexico, and she's like, once your grandma leaves, I'm out. Grabbing stuff, we can figure out. We're grown adults. We'll figure out the girl situation. Done. And I was like, hold on. By me doing all this stuff that I want to do by myself has now put me in a position where I'm about to lose everything that I work for, everything that I gain, the image of my daughters in me, and like, and now it's just like it comes to a point where like, all right, God, I listen by las buenas, even though I did certain things by las malas, right? And I would come home, like my grandma was there. I come home, and you can see their faces that I smelled like alcohol, and I'm like, it's just like, it just came to a point in realizing that no matter what you have done in your past, whatever you've walked through your past, sometimes people at church are doing worse things than people outside of church.
And they're sinvergüenzas too, because they try to act like they're all high and mighty.
Yeah.
And they're not, So I think that the biggest lie that the enemy puts in people's ears nowadays is that watch how much you're going to get judged when you go back to church. But we don't go to church for the people. We go to church because we want a relationship with God. And you'd be surprised how you will be received, because I'm pretty sure you felt surprised. David felt surprised. Brother Caesar felt surprised. All the other brothers and sisters that we know once felt surprised, because we expect because we're not mentally okay and we're having all these thoughts, that the people are having the exact same thoughts about us, but it's wrong. So whatever lie the devil has tried to cover over you, well, whoever's listening to it, it's not God.
Yes.
If God is who he says he is, he's loving, he's going to come to us with open arms. And I believe that God had used you to show that he is there physically. Because as humans, we want to feel something. We want to see something physically. We hear it, that he's here all the time, but it's natural for us to want to touch something, to want to feel something. We want that. And so God uses people to be able to show you, okay, here's a hug from me. I don't know how many times I felt like just exhausted from what it is to, minister in the worship. And at a vigilia, God used an hermana to literally hug me. But this hug wasn't a hug like a human hug. It was a hug that God was just literally scooping me up like that and picking me up. And I just like I know it wasn't her, it was him. And I believe that whatever is stopping you from trying to come back, it's not anybody else but the devil trying to put it in your ear, Yeah. And you'll be surprised when you get there. God says, test me in this. Okay, well, I don't know how many times I've tested God in my life. Like, okay, if this is you, do this, do this. And she shows me up every single time. Like, all right, it was you. But I believe that people coming back now, like you coming back, David coming back, was literally like, okay, I got to pick myself up again because I know that there's more to be done and now more to help out. And I think now as a church, like, shame on you if you've seen somebody come back to church and the first thing you do is judge them. Or shame on you if you've seen them outside in a reunion and instead of saying hi to them, you sit to the side because they're not walking the same way you're walking anymore. And that's something that irks me. It's one of my biggest pet peeve. Okay, they left the church. All right, that's fine. I'm still me. You're still you. You just decided to go a different path, and that's okay. I'm still here, and I will be here whenever you decide. You know what I mean? And I think that that's God's love. That even though we choose to not, sometimes give him our back, he's still there, just waiting. So if we're a reflection of that, why do we do the opposite when we see an hermano or an hermana that's no longer in church anymore? And we give them the, pues ya no va a la iglesia.
That nasty face, yeah.
Like,
it's what? Like people are shunned by people who leave.
Yeah, we're not a cult. We're not a freaking.
And it's like, I think that's what I was just speaking to the youth on last couple of weeks that I've given class, and a representation of like a mirror. Right? How do you see yourself behind a mirror? And it's crazy because I didn't think. Were you part of the mirror?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't think honestly that the mirror was gonna get filled, and like you see these jóvenes like literally writing like paragraphs right on the mirror how they see themselves. I'm like, that surprised me because we're living in a perspective of like enclosed youth, right? Enclosed minded and expanding people's minds, and it's kind of like what I've been teaching, and the fact that we're all sinners here, right? We're all sinners here. We all sin. We've all done stuff. We all fall short of the glory of God. That's realistically right. But if we're put into a perspective of how God sees us, how does God see you? If He made you to His image, if He made you quote unquote perfect in His image, we're the ones that have the liberty to damage that image that we have.
Yep.
Right. And I think that like I wanna touch base a little bit more on David's testimony.
You having a stroke? I'm just kidding.
On David's testimony, because it puts a light in the perspective of like these are the things that can happen, right? And like you have to quote unquote fall to the bottom, right? To pick yourself up, to realize that with God, you have everything. And without God, you have nothing. Yeah. So, I know we're like crunching down on time, but like, tell me a little bit, David, because we're going to have to run this back again. Right?
I don't mind, I like this.
Yeah, we're going to have to run this back. But give us a little bit, give us a little taste, a little something
of what next episode's going to be like. Leave him with the clip.
Well, honestly, bro, I'm a very strong-minded individual in general, and I have a big heart, but I also have a really tough heart. So a lot of things don't bother me, or I don't care for your other people's feelings. And being in the kitchen has made that worse in that aspect because when I stepped away from God the first time and I started my culinary career, I feel like nothing could stop me. You know, I'm a force to be reckoned with, especially in the kitchen.
Oh.
And and it didn't help that every kitchen I went to, I was perceived that way. You know, so it was easy for me to, if hermanos are talking about me, I didn't care because if my peers here at work are showing me that I'm pretty much a god, you know, and they used to call me culinary god, you know, and it was at that time where I needed something to hear some positive, and instead of coming from God, and that's how I felt. I'm like, all right, God, if you're not gonna tell me how great I am, then whatever. Then I got it. My friends over here that are showing me and telling me, and I'm getting paid, you know. And at the time, I wanted money and I wanted recognition, you know. So it was easy for me to just go down that road. And I'm like, in every kitchen I went, it was the same thing. Became I call it culinary god because I would get trained one day and the next day I'm running it by myself, you know. And the chefs there were impressed to the point where they were talking about promotions, this, more money here. And I'm like, man, I just got here. I'm like, okay, I like this feeling, you know? So it pushed me more further away from God, you know, to the point where, and to the point where I'm literally of getting a fight with God. When I, like I said, I stepped already from away from church, everything that has to do with God, but yet me and him were having arguments, you know what I'm saying? And I'm over here cussing at him. I'm like, all right, if you don't want me, then forget you, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy how much my time away from God, it was literally with God because I'm fighting with him every time. And it's crazy. Like I didn't realize it until he started telling me to come to this podcast and talk about my testimony, that a lot of things just started flowing in my mind. I started remembering this and that. And I'm like, God, I'm like, me and you really went at it, huh?
Yeah.
Like literally, we threw punches at each other. And I'm kind of glad that he did not decide to be, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm taking you with me. You're done. Yeah. Imagine it, because if he would have given up on me, when in all those times that I started fighting with him, started doing things because I'm like, hey, whatever, you know, and I literally went to this guy and flipped him off. You know what I'm saying? Physically, and I thought I was unstoppable. Yeah. And it was just crazy the things me and him went at it. And hearing that dream with the pastor and my mom talking about it, I still remember about it to this day, you know, and every time I go out and do my own thing, because I was literally I was drinking during work, get off work, go to the bar, drink some more, then finish the bar at 2 a.m, and then go to parties. And pretty much drink all the way through, you know, and not sleep 1 hour maybe. And then literally not sleep. And I would go out and do what I needed to do, and I felt unstoppable. So then when I got my girl pregnant, and we separated, I felt like, oh, okay, something's wrong here, but I didn't let it bother me, you know, because I'm like, okay, now I need to focus on my son. And it was funny because when I had my son, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke. I know it's hard to believe, but I didn't, you know. I didn't, you know, because I'm like, I had to be responsible for my son. I don't want to be one of those, because my brother, he drinks a lot and he drives with these girls. So me seeing that even away from God, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that to my son. You know, I don't want something to happen, and you know, and it's my fault because I was drunk or high.
Yeah, you wanted to be that good role model.
Yeah, you know,
for
even
him,
though I was
yeah.
already doing that behind his back, or when he fell asleep, I was getting hot, you know, in the bathroom. And then he woke up, I wouldn't do anything. And And I realized how bad it was when I would go drop them off, and I literally will drop them off. Cross the border, there was a gas station right there at the edge. Straight to the gas station, grab some tall cans and drink. And I would not stop drinking for those 2 weeks that I didn't have my son. So I literally had two faces. When I had my son, I was the good role model, they would say. And then when I dropped them off, I didn't care. I'm like, I'm unstoppable. No, nothing can happen to me. And I literally would say that, guy, nothing can happen to me, you know? And it's still me and him arguing. That's what I don't understand. I'm like, yeah, I was still away, but I was still in God's presence because me and him were always be arguing back and forth. And I'm like, and it's funny because I remember the party I went to when I got attacked. I'm all like, I was already pretty much bust. I went to the bar, got even more shit faced, and I was hanging out with my friends. And I went to the bar because I wanted to talk to this girl and I wanted to sleep with this girl, you know? And every guy does that. He wants to go do something because of a girl. So I did not need to leave that bar. But something in me just said, you need more. You need more. No, you need more. So I went and got more. And nearly that's when I got injured. And I did not, that's how drunk I was. That when I got attacked, I didn't know I got attacked or got stabbed or bleeding everywhere. I'm over here arguing with the attackers and stuff, and I'm on the phone with the officer because something clicked in my mind to call 911, you know? So we're sitting here arguing and talking on the phone, whatever. Finally, the cop shows up, and I don't know how long it passed, the whole argument, whatever. And I literally got taken out of the car and handcuffed, and the officer had to tell me if I was okay. And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm like, you should check on her. And he's like, no, are you okay? You're literally bleeding. I'm looking down, my shirt's ripped, and I see holes in my hand. I see 4 of them. Well, 3. The 4th one I didn't see until later on the day. And I'm like, and like something in me just awoke. Like I woke up, I'm like, whoa. You know, and I felt, I honestly, I think it was God that made me see, like, what the hell are you doing? You know, and the first person I saw was my son. I saw my boy, and I'm looking at my hand, and I could see a picture of my son looking at me, and I'm hanged up to the ground, like if I was trash, and like that right there just took me to another level, honestly. Like me and God, like he's all like, see, you see, just like that, you see, that's your son right there. No more. You won't see him anymore if I let go. You know? And I literally felt like somebody was holding me, you know? And I wasn't drunk at that time anymore. Yeah. I could feel it clearly, man. Like, and it didn't hurt. Like, I wasn't in pain. It was more in pain seeing my son and not seeing my son. You know, that's the first thing he put in my face. I'm like, you're a father and you're about to just throw him away. Throw him away, you know, and I can hear it clearly every time I bring it up. And I try not to bring it up because it's very painful to me, you know, because being a first-time dad and trying to instill goodness in my son, for him to see me that way, it just, it broke me, you know. And that's why I was ashamed, especially when they took me to the hospital. And I was supposed to work in the morning. And I'm like, I didn't have nobody's phone number except for my mom. And I'm literally sitting there between 3 to 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, ashamed in bed, not trying to call her. Not trying to call her. I'm ashamed. I'm like broken. It's like a broken glass, you know. I was done. Yeah. And I remember I remember them stitching me up, and the doctor said, "Oh, we closed your girl's mouth because I have a girl tattoo." Oh. And I literally got stabbed in her mouth, so her mouth was open. So she saw And I could clearly say, she told me that, and I looked at her, and I'm like, I don't care about this tattoo. I don't care. I told her about what kind of scar I'm gonna have. Like it didn't like back in the day. I cared about my tattoos. Like I wanted it to be filled up. I wanted every piece so everybody could be talking about it. And the fact that I got attacked in my tattoo and it was destroyed, it didn't. I didn't care. You know, it didn't bother me. I'm like, whatever. It's just a tattoo at the time, and she made it like she was laughing about it, and it's just that's when I think I realized that I was not right. You know, just the fact that she was laughing about it, and I'm sitting here not like not hurt because I'm overjoyed with my tattoos, you know, and I wanted more, and the fact that this one's damaged, I should be pissed, you know, but I was, and I was more pissed that she's laughing about it like if it was a joke, and I'm over here literally almost died. Yeah. You know, and I could see my hand all swollen, all purple. And at one point, I really thought I was gonna lose my arm. You know, I'm like, man, I need my hands. This is my livelihood. I cook for a living.
The culinary hands.
Yeah, and a lot of just went through my mind, honestly, bro. In those couple hours, I was sitting in the hospital, but I could just remember being ashamed. I don't want to call my mom. I don't want to call my dad. I'll figure out how I'm gonna get out of this hospital, but they wouldn't let me go because I was still drunk. They were telling me my blood alcohol level was still high. So I could imagine how much I actually drank that night. And for me not to have any problems or to a point where, because alcohol is really bad for you, especially if you drink a lot.
Yeah.
You could give yourself alcohol poisoning. And I was literally at that stage, you know what I'm saying? So how much did I drink? And I don't even remember drinking that much, in my opinion. And I drank a lot more than I normally do. So that's why I swear, I feel like it was a movie. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like it was a movie because I feel like I'm top of the world, having a good time and drinking. And honestly, it was easy for me to drink at work because they would give us stuff to drink at work, you know? And then when they stopped giving us drinks at work because somebody always messes it up, you know, I will go sneak and steal beers from the coolers, you know, and be hiding them in my pockets, going to the coolers, be drinking them, you know. And I felt like unstoppable, like I told you, because once you're not with God, the devil will always put things in front of your mind and your thoughts that you're invincible. Nothing can, and yeah, right, invincible. I said that correctly. That nothing could touch you, you know. And like I'm telling you, so that's happening, and then on top of that, they won't touch me because my work is flawless. You know, I'm pretty much doing 2 or 3 jobs of one person, you know, and I think that added to me drinking more.
Yeah.
Because if I'm getting treated like a guy, you know, like somebody like a king, why shouldn't I continue doing it?
Yeah.
So that's why it was easy for me to just keep drinking and keep drinking. And I can remember that day. I can remember the day leading up to it, and then nothing will happen in between until up to I got injured. You know, it is crazy.
To explain the mercy of God and the way you were describing it, it's like if you can imagine your son looking at you, right? Now imagine, and this is kind of how we're gonna leave it because we're gonna have to come back. Just
Oh, for sure.
yeah. But seeing how God gave up His only Son, right, to endure the pain that belonged to us, right, for the mercy and the glory of everybody else,
And to take away our shame.
to take away shame, our guilt, our doubts. I think God is showing you His mercy. God is showing you that throughout the times that you battled with Him,
He never left.
He never left you, right? Because if you're telling me that you always argue with Him, it's because God was always there. And God was and still continue to be there, right? Still continue to be with your dad, right? Still continue no matter what, like everything has gone in the course of life. Like God is still there, right? And we leave with this that no matter the situation, the circumstances that you guys are going through, that God is always there, and His mercy will endure forever.
Yeah.
And
if you need a physical, like you need to look at something to think, I need to see something in order for me to go back. Well, here you go. There's two individuals here presented right to you, so you can physically see God's mercy. You can physically see that yes, you can come back because somebody is waiting for you. And I don't mean somebody physical. I mean God is waiting for you with open arms.
Yeah.
So don't let the enemy, that little ugly little booger looking.
Just don't listen to him. You know, it's hard not to listen to him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because a lot of people wear sunglasses to block out the haters. But I feel like when you're out of God, you are wearing sunglasses at some one point.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing all the stuff that God is doing. Like, you might be drinking and stuff like that, and you literally got in an argument with somebody, and literally God stopped that guy from literally killing you at that moment or causing you harm, you know? And you don't see it that way because I'm like, maybe that guy got drunk, you know? You can't step up to me.
Yeah.
You see it like that, you know? Not until that those shades come off, that's when you realize a lot. A lot.
Yeah. So here is a physical proof that yes, there's room for you. You can come back.
Yes, ma'am.
And if you have it hard, they went through it too, but they're coming out of it, and so can you.
Yep. So we'll catch you guys on the next episode. It's a Law Podcast.
Yeah.
Tune in.
Bye.
Bye, guys.